You hear that title, and instantly, your brain reacts. Maybe it laughs. Maybe it gets uncomfortable. Maybe it leans in because you've wondered about it yourself. But let's just tell the truth. This is one of those topics men don't talk about out loud but think about constantly. And why? Because society, marketing, and culture have convinced you that your worth, your power, your confidence as a man comes down to one measurement. One part of you. One number. But let me tell you something you've probably never heard before. Increasing size is not just about the body. It's about increasing the size of your presence, the size of your energy, the size of the way you walk into a room and command respect. And the truth is, every man, no matter what size he is physically, has the ability to make himself feel bigger than life if he chooses to. Now, I know some of you are skeptical. You're thinking, yeah, that sounds motivational, but I want the real deal. How do I actually make myself bigger? And I'll answer that in two ways, physically and mentally. Because they go hand in hand. Physically, you want growth. Start with circulation. Size is blood flow. If you smoke, quit. If you eat junk all day, stop. If you never move your body, start. Because when you move, when you train, when you take care of yourself, you're not just building muscle, you're improving your blood flow, your hormones, your stamina. Your body responds. You feel fuller, harder, stronger. That's the science. You want a bigger body. Build a bigger lifestyle that supports it. But here's the part no one wants to admit. None of that matters if your mind is still small. You could add 2 inches tomorrow and still feel inadequate if you carry insecurity in your chest. You could have what magazines call ideal, and still hide in shame if you believe you're not enough. And that's the real battle. That's why the most powerful way to increase your size is to increase your self-worth. Think about it. When you're confident, you feel bigger. When you own your presence, you feel bigger. When you stop comparing yourself to the fake images you see online and start living in your truth, you feel bigger. And the people around you, they feel it too. Let's talk about intimacy, because this is where most men feel the pressure. You think your partner lies awake wishing you were different. Wrong. They crave connection. They crave how you look at them. They crave the way you touch them like they matter. They crave the way you make them feel safe, seen, and desired. That's what makes someone satisfied. That's what makes someone fulfilled. Not inches. Connection, energy, confidence. And here's the kicker. You can control that. You can control the way you show up. You can control your health. You can control your attitude. You can control how much love you give. You can control how you see yourself. Every day you get to choose. Am I going to live small, or am I going to live big? So how do you increase your size? You grow your habits. You grow your health. You grow your confidence. You grow your ability to look in the mirror and say, I am enough. Because when you feel enough, you project enough. And when you project enough, people feel it. Your partner feels it. Your life changes. Let me give you an example. There are men out there with all the physical gifts in the world, and yet, they're miserable. They sabotage relationships. They can't connect. Why? Because they never built their inner size. Then there are men who, by society's standards, are average, and yet, they walk into a room and everyone notices. They walk into a relationship and their partner feels like the luckiest person alive. Why? Because they've grown their energy, their presence, their confidence. That's real size. And, let's not kid ourselves, this is not just about sex. This is about life. If you learn how to increase your size here, you learn how to increase your size everywhere. In business, in relationships, in confidence, in the way you raise your kids, in the way you lead. Because growth in one area always spills over into every other. So I'm challenging you, stop obsessing over what you can't change, and start building what you can. Stop wasting money on empty promises and start investing in your habits. Move your body. Fuel yourself with real food. Sleep like a man who respects his body. Lower your stress. Breathe deeper. Learn presence. Learn connection. And most importantly, learn to look at yourself and see worth. Because in the end, when you do these things, you don't just increase size, you increase life. And life, my friends, is the only measurement that really matters. When most people hear the word size, their minds immediately run to comparison, to numbers, to rulers, to what society has drilled into us about what matters. But here's the truth. You can meet men who check every so-called physical box and yet still feel insecure, small, and inadequate. Why? Because size without confidence is meaningless. True size is not about what you carry in your body, it's about the way you carry yourself. Confidence changes everything. When you walk into a room with your head held high, with shoulders back, with energy that says, I belong here, people feel it. Presence commands attention. Self-worth radiates in every interaction, and that kind of energy is unforgettable. Your partner, your colleagues, your friends, they are not responding to inches, they are responding to the way you show up, to the certainty in your voice, to the strength of your presence. Think about it. You've probably seen someone who, by society's shallow standards, is average physically, but they feel magnetic. They draw people in, they exude power, they leave a lasting impression. That's because they've mastered the art of owning themselves. They've decided to stop measuring by numbers and start measuring by impact. So the challenge is not to ask, how do I make myself bigger? But rather, how do I make myself stronger in the way I live? Grow your confidence. Grow your belief in yourself. Grow your ability to stand tall in who you are. That's how you increase true size, by becoming a man whose presence is impossible to ignore. When men think about increasing size, they often jump to quick fixes, pills, pumps, or miracle promises that flood the internet. But the truth is, your body is a system, and size is directly tied to health. Physical growth, stamina, and performance all start with the basics: circulation, nutrition, exercise, and stress control. Let's start with circulation. Blood flow is everything. If your body isn't moving, if your arteries are clogged, if your lifestyle is stagnant, then your performance will be too. Cardio, strength training, even simple daily walks improve circulation and directly impact your vitality. A healthy body supports a strong response. Now, nutrition. What you put into your body shows up in how your body performs. Diets high in processed sugar, heavy alcohol, or constant junk food slow you down, lower testosterone, and limit your energy. Real food, lean protein, vegetables, whole grains, healthy fats, fuels blood flow, hormone balance, and energy levels. Exercise isn't just about building biceps or abs. It's about strengthening your core, boosting endurance, and creating confidence. Movement is medicine, and it sends a message to your body that it's alive, strong, and ready. Finally, stress. Most men don't realize stress is a silent killer of performance. When your body is under constant stress, blood flow is redirected away from your reproductive system, testosterone drops, and energy vanishes. Meditation, deep breathing, proper rest, and sleep are not luxuries, they're essential for growth. You can have all the physical advantages in the world, but if you live with insecurity, you will always feel small. That's the trap most men fall into. They measure themselves against impossible standards, compare themselves to edited images online, and then wonder why they never feel enough. Insecurity doesn't care about reality. It shrinks you from the inside out. It makes you question yourself in the bedroom, at work, in relationships. It convinces you that who you are is lacking. But here's the truth. Self-belief is the game changer. When you believe in yourself, your energy shifts. You carry yourself differently. You stop apologizing for who you are. You stop measuring your worth by inches, by numbers, by comparisons, and instead, you start measuring it by your courage, your resilience, your ability to show up fully. That's when you become larger than life. Think about someone you admire. Chances are, it's not because of their physical attributes, but because of their unshakable belief in themselves. That confidence radiates. It creates presence. And presence is what people feel, what partners crave, what opportunities are drawn to. So the question isn't, do I measure up? The question is, do I believe I do? Because the moment you start believing in yourself, insecurity loses its grip. You project strength, you create attraction, you inspire respect. And that has nothing to do with physical size, it has everything to do with mindset. Self-belief makes you powerful, magnetic, and unstoppable. That is the true measure of a man. Most men carry this silent pressure, that their worth in intimacy depends on size. They worry, they compare, they overthink, and in doing so, they miss the truth. Real intimacy has never been about numbers. It's about how present you are with your partner, the energy you bring into the moment, and the depth of connection you create. Think about it. If intimacy were purely physical, then every relationship would be solved by anatomy. But that's not how it works. Partners remember how you make them feel, not just what you do. They crave attention, eye contact, the way you hold them like they matter. They crave confidence, laughter, and the sense of safety you bring into the space. When a man starts focusing on growth, whether it's confidence, health, or presence, he quickly realizes it's not just about one part of life. The habits, the mindset, the discipline it takes to increase size, don't stop in the bedroom. They spill over into everything you do. Because growth is never isolated. Growth in one area creates momentum in all areas. When you learn to push yourself physically, you build discipline. That same discipline shows up in your career, in the way you lead, in the way you take risks. When you strengthen your confidence, suddenly you speak with more authority, you hold your ground in conversations, you inspire respect. When you practice presence with a partner, you carry that same ability to listen and connect into friendships, family, and business relationships. This is why the work matters. It's not just about proving something to yourself physically, it's about training yourself to step into a bigger version of life. The man who learns to manage his health, his energy, and his self-belief becomes a man who can manage challenges in any context. He becomes more patient, more courageous, more resilient. And purpose. That comes when you realize that growth is not only for you. When you grow yourself, you grow your capacity to serve, to lead, to inspire others. You set an example. You show your kids, your partner, your community what it looks like to rise above insecurity and step into strength. So don't think of this as just a private struggle. Think of it as training. Training for life, for leadership, for purpose. Because when you grow here, you grow everywhere.